Hispanic descent, a woman of color who came from, I think about my dad growing up as one of 10 Mexican Americans, at times in a one-room house where they didn't even always have running water. I just have to say, I completely fundamentally reject the notion that getting rid of one of those 10 or more of those 10 would make life better for the rest of them. It just doesn't work that way. I mean, we're talking about a human life. And to me, the Hyde Amendment strikes a really important balance. We're not talking about where the life of the mother is in danger. We're not talking about life for life. We're talking about someone who is, should be protected under the Constitution as having that life. We know, the doctors on this call can tell you, that a baby in utero can have a completely different blood type than its mother. It's not an extension of the mother's body. It's its own life with its own DNA that is separate from the mother's. So we keep taking this back up to just talking about one person in the equation, and that's the mother, but you have to acknowledge the personhood of the other person in this equation who pays the ultimate price. And I reject the solution that Dr. Palacio proposed to maternal mortality rates to decrease them, is to just get rid of pregnancy. We know that 70% of women who experience maternal mortality or those complications, it happens actually during that first year after the baby's born, which is why I proudly supported extending Medicaid coverage to the mother to cover the mother and the baby during that year when we know most of those things occur. I proudly supported it. It was one of the reasons I voted against our party's Obamacare repeal. And I told Vice President Pence, look, if we're going to tell young women who are poor or who are from minority neighborhoods, have your baby, then we need to step up and make sure that they have the coverage they need. And the wraparound services is why I support family medical leave. It's why I support these services, because I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I think one of the things that keeps getting lost here is we're talking about the Hyde Amendment as in some way it's racist. The reality is, the Hyde Amendment is one of the things that helps us root out systemic racism in this area. Women, 33% more women of color have abortions, and it's no secret that Planned Parenthood's founder had built this whole methodology into place to go into these areas with a eugenics mindset to get rid of poor Black women. Oh my goodness, that's so outrageous to say that because you're poor or because you're Black, you use the solution for your life and your success is to take away your pregnancies. I mean, I just, it's hard for me to understand that this is how we're talking about this. And I wanted to make the point, there's a couple points. 70% of Americans, this is from June of 2020, Gallup, want abortion to be illegal in all circumstances or legal only a certain narrow subset of circumstances, compared to 29% who say abortion should be legal at any point during pregnancy. We're not talking about private funds, we're talking about taxpayer funds. The Hyde Amendment has 40-year legacy of being bipartisan. It has a 40-year legacy of enjoying the support of the American people. Some of the arguments I keep hearing are, women need to be able to make this decision on their own terms with their own bodies, reproductive autonomy, but they're not using private dollars. We're not talking about them using their own dollars, right? You're asking for taxpayers, 70% of whom do not wish to have their money sent here. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about overturning Roe v. Wade. We're talking about protecting this taxpayer funding and people's conscience here. And one thing I wanted to hear Christina Bennett expand upon this with regard to the allegations that somehow the Hyde Amendment is racist. I view it quite opposite.
I view it the same way that you do. I share your thoughts. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm alive today because my mom walked outside of her abortion appointment. And so to think that encouraging abortion, and make no mistake, that's what this will do. It'll encourage abortion. When women are already vulnerable, they will think, all I have to do is just go over to the clinic and give them my Medicaid card, and my life can change. They'll believe the lies that society tells them, that their problems will be erased. Their partners may be pressuring them. Their parents may be pressuring them. I have been outside of abortion clinics. I have seen mothers dragging their children, their teenagers into clinics. I have seen guys pressuring their girlfriends and even their wives. And this makes it easier for them if they know it's free.
Let me add in my last 17 seconds. Thank you for that. Studies, including a study specifically of poor women on Medicaid in California, show much higher death rate for women who have had abortions compared to women who have given birth, especially from suicide. This needs to be explored.
Congressman Pocan.